911 God.
There's a village full story where Venkateshwara borrows from Kubera for his marriage and he is still paying the debt. Venkateshwara takes the responsibility of reserve to reserve. This whole story, beautiful story of Venkateshwara is an amazing concept. He is making Yaksha into Lakshmi. He is making the reserve to reserve. It's an amazing.
There are some gods, 911 gods. The moment you call, they will be there. Venkateshwara, Balaji. I tell you, people give so much for Venkateshwara because he does the job. He's the 911 God.
There's a village full story where Venkateshwara borrows from for his marriage and he is still paying the debt. Venkateshwara takes the responsibility of reserve to reserve. This whole story, beautiful story of Venkateshwara is an amazing concept. He is making Yaksha into Lakshmi. He is making the reserve.
Sorry. Nithyanandam, welcome back to your viewers. Sorry for the technical glitch. Yes, we will just be reading the post, today's International Day of Peace, made by the official page of the Supreme Court of Hinduism. So Kailasa's Department of Human Service Operation with Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for Global Peace and Religious Harmony, Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for Peacekeeping, And Kailasa's Department of Information and Broadcasting is announcing a digital global poster making contest on the occasion of these is a visually appealing supreme concept of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, over the last 26 years in advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and creating an equitable and sustainable world. The creative digital poster must contain the essential elements along with the contributions of Kailasa and the supreme concept of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, including the Tiruvannamalai Hill, Madurai Temple, the supreme concept of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, Ananda Ganda photo, the Adi Kailasa Nithyananda Sarvajna Pita banyan tree, and so you can post your digital poster like Kailasa, #Nithyananda. So the contest is open to one and all. So please submit your digital poster by 11:59 PST on the 21st of September 2021. The winning digital poster will be selected and posted on the official handle of the Supreme Pontificum. And here we have the sample poster. So you too can partake in this lovely contest and have the opportunity for your digital poster to be posted on the official handle of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself. So do not miss out on this opportunity. Do take time to participate in this fun contest and ensure that you enjoy and celebrate this International Day of Peace, that we can all celebrate and recognize all of the contributions. Now we will also see another post made on the official page of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in regards to a proclamation made and offered to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So we will be to you in just a moment. Soon at 6:30 p.m. we will be having a very special panel, and we will be able to hear all about the various contributions in the field of peace and what all the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been doing over the last 26 years. And yes, here we have the official proclamation offered to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Sri Kailasa office of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has Atma Shanti of the Honorable Sri 108 Mahant Narendra Giriji, and we can view the full PDF. So we can go to this link and view the full PDF of this proclamation by Sri Narendra Giriji. This is the Atma Shanti of the Honorable Sri Narendra Giriji, and you can see the photo of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the Honorable Sri Narendra Giriji. And today, on September 20th, 2021, for our nation, Kailasa, mourns the loss of the most dedicated defender, protector, and one of the most powerful voices of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, Mahant Sri Narendra Giriji Maharaj, the Adi Yaksha president of the Akhila Bharatiya Akhada Parishad, All Indian Council of Akhadas, the oldest and largest apex body of Hinduism. Mahant Sri Narendra Giriji Balgambari Gadi, which is one of the oldest Gadi ashrams in Allahabad, and the Hanuman temple in Prayagraj. To ABAP consists of 1 million plus dedicated sadhus, same as their sister organizations or subsidiaries, carrying the ideological connection, yet having their independent identity. Historically, the Akhadas were founded by Paramashiva himself, and later in 748 CE, Adi Shankaracharya formally organized and unified the Hindu theologies, ideologies, and principles that exist when Sanatana Hindu Dharma in intimacy to Hinduism's core spiritual traditions in the form of the Akhadas or the apex Mahanshina of true unification and revival of Hindu in all its glory. He was influential and inspirational figure, epitomizing authorities, judiciary, and politicians. He had personality to stand, understand, and defend the whole Hinduism on numerous occasions. And in the words of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and yes, we can continue on. Yes, we can go to the top. And so in the words of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, since 2007, I have personally known and shared a long view of Mahant Sri Narendra Giriji Maharaj. He has always expressed his support for the continuum of the uniting services in various religious, spiritual, and humanitarian efforts of Kailasa in advancing faith, peace, and harmony through several initiatives, including organizing Kumbh Mela, the oldest and largest spiritual congregation worldwide. Kailasa is the only nation or authorized by Akhila Bharatiya Parishad, Akara Parishad to conduct Kumbh Mela outside the borders of India. Mahant Sri Narendra Giriji Maharaj has further officiated numerous international religious conclaves, treaties, and summits hosted by Kailasa. I personally, in the words of the Supreme Pontiff, personally and on behalf of defender and protector of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, Mahant Sri Narendra Giriji Maharaj, we are indeed saddened at the huge, irrecoverable loss to Hinduism, as it has lost one of the greatest doyens who envisioned the true unification and revival of Hinduism in all its glory. The legacy and contribution of the Honorable Shri 108 Mahant Swami Narendra Giriji to Hinduism will never be forgotten and will forever be recorded in the history of our nation, Kailasa. In witness whereof, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism continues on, I have hereunto set my seal this 20th day of September in the year of 2020, and in accordance with the Vedic calendar, during the Shri Shvetavaraha Kalpa Vaivasvat Mantre Ashtavimsritame Nityuge Pradame Pade Sharvari Nama Samatsare Dakshina Shri Lakshmi Venkateshwara Rito Kanyamase Shukla Pakshe Purnimayam Shubhadito Somavasa Yuktam Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Here you can see the more photos of Shri Narendra Giriji Maharaj visiting the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in Adi. And remember the photo. So Mahant Swami Shri Narendra Giriji, yes, more photos of in his personal statement, the Honorable President Shri 108 Mahant Swami Narendra Giriji, who leads 14 apex bodies of Hinduism with 1.2 million monks, declared 1 week ago, said he is the backbone of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. All connected to Swamiji, His Divine Holiness Paramahamsa Nithyananda, are very much fortunate. Today, I consider myself also, as I am connected to Swamiji. In the topic of this great ascetic saint, it is my belief that on the strength of the tapas, the penance, and the dhyana, the meditation, man becomes transformed into divine. Today, on coming to his adinam in front of you, seeing the austerity, penance, and strength of the Honorable Nithyananda Swamiji, I felt that in reality, I have come into the presence of a Divya Purusha, the divine being. And so this was the statement that you can see the statement. And the letter in Hindi script of Mahant Sri Narendra Giriji Maharaj proclaiming the divine austerity, spiritual penance, the strength of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, and his contributions to Sanatana Hindu Dharma and humanity. So you can see the proclamation, the Atma Shanti of the Honorable Sri Narendra Giriji Maharaj. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, recognizes the Atma Shanti of the Honorable Shri 108 Mahant Narendra Giriji Maharaj, and has given this proclamation. Yes. So you can see the full proclamation. And this was officially signed, and yes, you can photos. Yes, and Shri Narendra Giriji, the head of the Akhila Bharatiya Akada Parishad, honors Kailasa's camp in Kumbh Mela, expressing his gratitude to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for the unwavering and incessant contributions to Hinduism of Shri Narendra Giriji Maharaj and Nithyananda Paramashivam in a religious congregation in Varanasi, India, and acknowledging his divine lineage successors. And you can see again the personal statement made by the Honorable President Shri 108 Mahant Swami Narendra Giriji Maharaj, recognizing the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's contributions to Hinduism and his presence as a Divya Purusha, the divine being. And yes, here is the statement in Hindi. Yes. Now, with this, we will be understanding some of the various revelations made by Devi Parashakti for humanity during this time. And we will go through these revelations and understand them a little bit more deeply and understand the science behind them. So let us now enter into this segment. And all of you can also stay tuned for the upcoming program on this International Day of Peace. We will be having a panel and discussing the topic of peace, as well as all of the contributions that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has made in the field of peace. So do stay tuned for this segment coming up in a short while. And in the meantime, we will be continuing on with the Parashakti Akashic reading program. We will be exploring some of the revelations made by Devi Parashakti for humanity. So in the Guru Padaka Stotram, composed by Adi Shankaracharya, the very first verse describes how the Guru Padaka is the boat that helps us cross the Ananta Samsara Samudra, the seemingly endless ocean of samsara or suffering.
And the samsara samudratara naukayitabhyam guru bhakti tabhyam vairagya sajada pujanabhyam namo namaha shri Gurubhyam. And the translation for this verse is, salutations to the sandals of my Guru. which is the boat which helps me cross the endless ocean of life, which endows me with the sense of devotion to my Guru, and by worship of which I attain the dominion of renunciation.
Navigate ourselves and lost in the overwhelming vastness of the suffering that surrounds us during this pralaya, the great deluge. Our loved ones are dying due to the pandemic. Our homes are being destroyed due to the natural disasters. Social institutions are crumbling, and the whole of humanity is in a desperate and dire need of hope. And the Cosmic Mother has come to alleviate suffering of humanity.
And it is at this time that the Supreme Point of Hinduism, the incarnation of cosmic superconsciousness, out of his love and compassion, having taken the spiritual responsibility for the conscious humanity, is literally the boat that sails us through the pralaya. And Devi Parashakti is hurting through the Javatara and answering each and every one of our, not just to humanity at large. And Devi Parashakti has guided the whole humanity in the form of relations of profound sacred secrets of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, and showing us the future regarding global issues, the COVID pandemic, natural disasters such as fires, floods, and etc., and even the twisted human conspiracies and underground wars which have not surfaced to cause. And in this segment, we will be elaborating on the statistical and scientific and scriptural references of each sacred revelation, which has manifested precisely as the same guidance emerged from Devi Parashakti, for us to imbibe deeply and start following as Devi Parashakti continues to protect us until this storm ends and we safely harbor on the shores of our consciousness. So now let us see the manifestation of Devi Parashakti, what she has revealed in the Akashic readings. Let us look at the revelations of Devi Parashakti on the eight methods to protect yourself from COVID-19, revealed on the 30th of April 2021.
Parashodasi Meenakshi, Parameshwari Meenakshi, Parashakti Meenakshi, இங்கு எழுந்து அருளினோம் எல்லோர்க்கும் ஞானமும் தன்மையும் தந்திட நன்மையெல்லாம் அளித்திட நாமே வந்தோம் இங்கு கைலாசத்தின் சுவாமினியாய் பரமசிவன் கிரகத்திருந்து நம் அனுக்கிரகத்தினால் நித்யானந்தன் விக்கிரகமாய் மலர்ந்தோம். உங்கள் எல்லோருக்கும் நல்லதை நன்மையை சொல்லிட தர்மார்த்த காம மோக்ஷம் எனும் புருஷார்த்தங்கள் நாளும் பொங்கி மலர்ந்திட வந்தேன் இங்கு. மாந்தர்கள் கொடுந்தொற்று கொரோனா கண்டம் 8 வழியின் மூலமாகவும் எண்ணத்தில் தியானித்து என்னை மூலமாய் என்னை சரணடைதல் 2. எங்கெல்லாம் என் மகமாரி வடிவத்தில் நான் குடிகொண்டிருக்கின்றேனோ அங்கெல்லாம் பூமிதித்து என்னை வழிபடுவது 3. நெஞ்சில் மஞ்சள் தடவி வேப்பம் சாரருந்தி தினந்தோறும் என்னை தியானிப்பது 4. நிர்விகல்ப நிலையிருந்து நித்யானந்தத்தை  நிறைத்து உயிர்வது 5. சிவ ஸ்ரீநாதத்தை அஜபா ஜபமாய் நிகழ்த்தல் 6 நிறைவான பூரண மனத்தோடு வாழைப்பழத்தோலும் வெங்காயமும் குதிகாலில் வைத்து பத்திட்டு பூரணமாய் பரிபூரணமாய் அருணாச்சல ஸ்மரணையில் நினைப்பும் உணர்வு ஸ்மரணையில் அகம் அகம் என ஸ்புரிக்கும் அருணாச்சல ஸ்மரணையில் ஆனந்த ஸ்புரணத்தில் இருப்பது 8 எனும் 8 முறையிலும் என எண்ணியோர் அத்துணை பேருக்கும் இல்லை கொரோனா கொடுந்தொற்றின் தாக்கமும் கொரோனா கொடுந்தொற்றின் பயமும் கொரோனா கொடுந்தொற்றின் மயக்கமும் வாழ்வீர்கள் வளத்தொடு நல் ஞானம் யோகத்தொடு நாமே நிம்மோடு நானே நீயாய் நீயே நானாய் நல்வாழ்வு வாழ்வீர்கள் 8 ஒன்று செய்தாலும் பரமேஸ்வரி மீனாட்சி
Yes. Let us now look at the translated Parashakti's revelation and understand Devi Parashakti's revelations in English.
Yes, so let us look at the revelations in English. The translation to the revelation dated on 30th of April 2021. Oh humans, don't be scared of the deadly infection corona. Through these 8 ways, praying and meditating on me, surrendering to me through social media, wherever I am, residing, meditating on me every day, being in an unclutched state, filled with eternal bliss.
Doing the Ajaba Ajaba of the cosmic sound, Shiva Shiva. Complete mind applying banana peel and onion in the heels and going to sleep. And being in the state beyond any remembrance or forgetting in the Arunachala Purana that blossoms as a aham aham in the state of Ananda Purana. And everyone who thinks on me through these 8 ways, they will not have effects of corona. They don't have fear and delusion of corona. You will live with prosperity, with wisdom, and for you as me as you. You will live a good life, even if you do one of these 8 ways. I will protect you. Corona will not reach you. Don't have fear, O people. Be blissful.
And in the revelation, Devi Parashakti has revealed 8 methods to protect all of humanity from COVID-19. So we are now going to see the benefits behind each method that Devi Parashakti has revealed.
So the first method is by praying and meditating on Devi Parashakti. And Healthline has published the 12 science-based benefits on meditation. And this meditation has been extensively studied by science. And they found that Healthline has published these 12 benefits. First is that it reduces stress, it controls anxiety, it promotes emotional health, it enhances the self-awareness, it lengthens attention span, it may reduce age-related memory loss, it can generate kindness, it may help fight addiction, it improves control pain, it can decrease blood pressure, and accessible anywhere. And a study done by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has shown that meditation has a direct impact on both our physical health as well as our mental health.
And another study by Cambridge University Press reiterates that the necessity of meditation during the times of crisis, such as COVID-19. So you can see it, the study published by Cambridge University Press.
And research published in Everyday Health states how prayer and spirituality protects emotional health, and by offering a bigger sense of purpose, by providing social support, by lifting the spirit, and by helping you cope with difficulties. And 91 people with congestive heart failure for 5 years, they found that those who reported feeling spiritual peace and who also made some healthy lifestyle changes were significantly more likely to live longer than their peers. And people with major depressive disorder or chronic medical illnesses who report high levels of religiosity, which includes daily religious experiences, generally become more optimistic than their peers. This was found in a study published in July 2015 in Depression and Anxiety. So you can see how meditation, prayer, spirituality have a direct effect on our emotional health and our just through prayer, spirituality, and maintaining a high emotional health.
So now let us watch a video where the demonstrates how meditation directly impacts our mind.
Nithyananda participates and encourages scientific researchers to derive evidences for meditation and healing through meditation. Dr. R. Murli Krishna, President, COO, Integris Mental Health and James L. Hall Jr., Center for Mind, Body and Spirit, Oklahoma in US, and his team invited Nithyananda to derive scientific evidences for meditation and the state of his enlightenment.
When Swamiji came, I have requested him to do one thing. I asked him willing to undergo some scientific investigation of the meditation process. He very cheerfully agreed with repeat sessions for quantitative EEG sessions. And these are really not very easy tests to go through. It requires a lot of patience and a lot of willingness to do that. So we did that. Because if a meditation process is doing something to your brain, we should be able to detect that. Scientific findings are verifiable. They're replicable. You can replicate them, duplicate them. So Swamiji went through those sessions and we found some interesting findings.
In PET scan, they inject a radioactive dye which goes and sits in parts of the brain that are active. In the normal, non-meditative state, the brain is very active. And when we are seeing someone, the rear end of the brain, the visual cortex, is very active, as shown in the diagram.
Usually the brain is so active, there are 100 billion brain cells there. But what meditation does is something very interesting. It shows getting more active. The frontal lobe is where you have judgment, wisdom, reasoning. Here are some of the with you. This is alert, non-meditative. The second one, 60 minutes of deep meditation, and here is a deep, deep level of meditation where it lights up significantly right here, right in the middle, probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches deeper. What's interesting was, Swami was inside, and that's the last part of that one. See that light right here? So what's interesting was, I've never seen that before in my life. So the other parts I've seen may not be to the extent that Swamiji showed. But there is something called dopamine, which is our brain is involved in. Dopamine is produced mostly in this area. And it's a chemical that transmits messages of pleasure. Basically evokes pleasure. If you eat, the same thing is with visual pleasures you have. Beautiful people, beautiful sceneries, nature, whatever gives you pleasure. It's mediated through dopamine. Everything that human being experiences involves dopamine. But what's interesting is that you and I have the potential to create our own dopamine in a big way. So I named it, for lack of a word in the past, the D spot, which is a dopamine spot. If you can discover your D spot, you got it made in life. The D really stands for a divine spot. It also stands for delight and the dopamine spot. I want to share with you, there's so much more talk about physiology of mind and brain and the body. It's a that this is something that all human beings can relate to, can apply in our own lives. Not only a sophisticated knowledge, but these things have application in daily life for all of us.
Nithyananda's system of free healing, known as Nithya Spiritual Healing, has been baffling the medical world, curing diseases from migraine to cancer. Qualified people are also initiated to become healers. The complete report of the research conducted on Nithyananda's neurological system can be found in Mystic Phenomena Scientific Data.
Yes, now that we've seen how meditation actually impacts our brain, now let us see what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revealed about prayer and how prayer is the best stress buster, how puja is the best stress buster video.
If you are not allowed to do yoga, to believe early morning sleep is the best thing invented. If you are constantly inspired to do yoga early 30-40 minutes and melt down by feeling connection, understand, nothing can be. I tell you, prayer is stress buster. Deep feeling connection and tears rolling in your eyes and melting down. Prayer to Paramashiva. Intense yearning, Vyakulata, talking to Paramashiva, relating to Paramashiva. Nothing can be compared to that to bust your stress. I tell you, every day puja is a ultimate recharging. The kind of the clock will be aligned to Kailasa. I tell you, I have seen the people who have the habit of Nitya Puja long, not just happy. That gave me all the best things of life. Every day puja, relating with the deities is the best stress buster. Touch the dish, do decoration, dress up with my. When I sit with my deities, dress up the deities, jewel, sleep, deeply connect and pray. Understand? You do not know the power of Archavatara. God landing in physical deity form. Never underestimate the power of Archavatara. The Archa Avatara is equivalent to living Avatara. What living avatar can do to you, an Archa Avatara can do. Atma Linga I am giving to all of you is literally living Archa Avatara. It's a piece of God. Literally.
Yes. Now that we've understood how meditation and prayer are beneficial for us and how they can protect us from corona, there are 7 other methods that Devi Parashakti can protect yourself from corona, and we will be understanding some of those methods. But from corona is through prayer and meditating on Devi Parashakti. So in this next segment, we will understand how you can pray to Devi Parashakti, how you can connect with Devi much more deeply through the various offerings. You can relate with Devi, offer your love, your devotion, and gratitude to Devi Parashakti in this next segment. So we will be entering into the offerings segment, where some of the offerings that we can make to Devi Parashakti, and of course, as Devi revealed, pray to Devi Parashakti, meditate on Devi Parashakti, and protect ourselves from corona. So now let us enter into the offering segment. Yes. So let us now enter into the segment.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Yes. Sorry for the technical glitch. So now let us understand how we can connect with Devi Parashakti and receive all of our blessings. As we all know, Devi is a complete completion of both the masculine and feminine consciousness, and both have to be expressed equally in every human to experience enlightenment. And every human being has to complete with these 5 dimensions to achieve enlightenment. The Pitrus, the ancestors, the Kula Devatas, the family deities, the parents, nature, and ultimately Guru himself, who will be bestowing enlightenment upon you. And incompletions are life, negative, and adharmic cognitions in the 5 dimensions that lead to misconstrued karana and karya, the cause and effect, that further lead to suffering and pain and calamities in the individual and collective and global level. being sensitive, is being aware and in gratitude. Everything for everything, from the air that we breathe, to the place that we sit, to the energy that you feel that you exist, the energy to celebrate your existence. Being in gratitude for all of that is being sensitive to life. 43 energies constitute cosmic motherly completion and sensitivity from the level of the Panchabhutas, and this is the core principle of the cosmos. Awakening the sacred feminine is key to enlightenment. When awakened, man expresses the sacred feminine consciousness. He becomes a great. When awakened, woman expresses the sacred feminine consciousness. She becomes Devi, the cosmic mother, expressing all of the. And the key to awaken the sacred feminine consciousness is conscious sovereignty. And out of millions of paths, the easiest, sweetest, and most beautiful path to enlightenment is connecting with the cosmos as mother, Devi Parashakti, the cosmic feminine consciousness. Devi is the one who expresses as Guru and all the gods and all the manifestations of the universe. She can straight away deliver enlightenment by connecting to the cosmic umbilical cord. Offerings are not to benefit the divine, but to close consciousness. When we achieve completion with the divine mother umbilical cord, and there is nothing too small or too big one can offer to connect with the divine mother. It has to be from a space of love, of a child looking at her mother and handing her what it has to share with her out of deep love and gratitude. It can be a cup of milk, a flower, or it can be a precious jewel to adorn her smiling face or her beautiful hair. And Vedic rishis have clearly stated the techniques to connect with the sacred feminine consciousness, to awaken the same qualities in us. One can connect with Paramashiva through oneness, but with the divine cosmic mother, it is only by worshipping her feet with true devotion. Most healing, soothing, and sweetest path to enlightenment. Among all traditions on planet Earth, worshipping includes contemplating, meditating through sacred offerings of mantras and oblations at her feet. Mother worship is, of course, as we stated, the sweetest path to enlightenment in all the traditions on planet Earth. So why do we worship the divine feminine? Why should we connect with Devi Parashakti? Because she is the ultimate and she can make you experience the ultimate. And in the Devi system, Devi herself describes herself as all the Vishvadevas. Let us look at the translation of this verse. I walk as the 11 Rudras. I walk as the 11 Rudras. I walk as the Vasus. I walk as Vishnu and the other Adityas and all the divine forms, the Vishvadevas, assuming the form of the inner self of all the gods. I hold aloft Mitra and Varuna, even as Indra and Agni I do, and the Ashwini twin Rudra, Ashtavasus, Dvadasha Aditya, Vishvadevata, all of them are my retinue. I move around in my various forms with them as my retinue. I protect, including Mitra, Varuna, Indra, Agni, and Ashwini Devata. Declares herself as the inner self of all the gods, the divine energies. She is all pervading and all pervading. So when you worship Devi, you pray to Devi Parashakti, you will be praying to all the gods and goddesses and be receiving the blessings of all the gods and goddesses. So the first offering that you can make to Devi Parashakti is the E20 offering. And you can, this is like in any temple that you would make an offering in the hundi, any amount that you want to make. You can just offer your love, your gratitude to the divine for happening in your life. And just out of your true devotion, you can make this offering. And this verse, it describes that Devi is fond of true devotion. She is won over through true devotion, and she removes all fears. So if there's any fear in the minds of the devotee, Devi is sure to remove that fear. It is stated that Devi likes to be worshipped in autumn. And here it is not the autumn, the season, but rather the autumn of our lives where our thoughts turn more and more inwards. And the role of the divine is much more known and understood. And the need for Devi worship becomes much stronger. So you can offer your gratitude and Shakti by offering your kanika, and your name shall be chanted during the puja to Devi Parashakti. The next offering is the Sankalp chanting, the offering of your conscious resolution Parashakti. And when you offer your Sankalpa to Devi Parashakti from the context stated in the Soundarya Lahari, let the mantras sacrifice in my soul become chanting and drinking, become offering in homas and yajnas. Let all my acts of her, your sankalpa, your conscious resolution to Devi Parashakti with this context, you will be blessed with receiving all the blessings of both asked and unasked, remembered and forgotten wishes to manifest the grace of Devi Parashakti.
This is kind of
So the next offering is the best inscription of Devi's name on it. So each of these names represent one of the various qualities of Devi Parashakti. So each of these qualities of Devi Parashakti, you can also manifest, whether it's her overflowing compassion or her infinite knowledge. You will be blessed with manifesting all of the Ananta Kalyana Gunas of Devi Parashakti when you make this offering. If you would like to Devi Parashakti herself. Sorry for the technical glitch.
Paramashivoham.
There are some gods, 9 unknown gods. The moment you call, they will be there. Venkateshwara, Balaji. I tell you, people give so much for Venkateshwara because he does the job. He's a 9 unknown god.
There's a village full story. Venkateshwara borrows from Kubera and he's still paying the debt. Sir. This whole story, beautiful story of Venkateshwara is an amazing concept. He is making Yaksha into Lakshmi. He is making the reserve to reserve. It's an amazing truth.
Sorry for the technical glitch. So, yes, if you offer this Sahasranama Sparana Klasu, you will be blessed with all the Ananta Kalyana Gunas of the divine qualities of Devi Parashakti. Next offering, she is very fond of pearls. Of course, the pearl represents the infinite compassion of Devi Parashakti. So in this verse, it states, I bow to the goddess Meenakshi, whose crown has garlands of pearls, and the face shining like a full moon, who wears anklets that are studded with gemstones and has small bells, who is shining like the splendor of the lotus, who grants all the wishes, the daughter of the mountain, who is worshipped by goddesses Vani and Rama. I remain ever bowing to the goddess Meenakshi, the ocean of compassion. And when you offer this Mukta Anguti, the finger ring with a pearl, you will be blessed with all of Devi Parashakti's infinite compassion and all of your business endeavors. Sorry for the technical glitch. So we'll be right back with those slides. So if you are interested in offering this finger ring with a pearl, you are more than welcome to do so. And you can also offer the next offering, which is the Svarna Metti. This is the golden toe ring. And Devi is described as the one who destroys all the ignorance in the minds of the devotees. And so when you offer this at the feet of Devi Parashakti, you will be blessed with the ignorance in your mind being destroyed, and of course, the blessings to attain all the knowledge on your path to enlightenment. And of course, we have the next offering, which is the Sarna Padma Pushpa, the golden lotus. And in the Kamika Agama, it describes that all the kalashas should be wound around with suitable thread and covered with the new cloth. They should be adorned with the lotus flower made of gold. You can see the significance of the golden lotus as it is used in many, many rituals. Aspects of Hinduism, there are hundreds of scriptural references for using the lotus and the worship of Paramashiva. Almost everything in the worship of the ultimate involves the consecration of deities of worship with the lotus flower, the lotus leaf, the lotus pericarp, the lotus petals, and the lotus is a very divine flower. The Shakti of Paramashiva is called the lotus. The base of the Paramashiva Linga is also the lotus, and the disciple of Paramashiva is also considered to be a lotus ready to bloom. So you can offer the golden lotus in any size that you wish and be blessed to have the state-based powers and being of Paramashiva and Parashakti in your inner space amidst any and every adverse situation in your life. Just as a lotus blooms in the murky waters, you will be blooming in every situation in your life. As we described, the Svarnamati, the golden toe ring, is a very of ignorance from the minds of your devotees who prostrate at your feet. You whose brightness from your 2 feet overpower that of the lotus flower. You can see the power of Devi Parashakti's very toenails. So when you offer this toe ring to Devi and adorn her sacred feet, you will be in constant gratitude for receiving the blessings of Devi Parashakti in difficult aspect of your life. The next offering is the Svarna Mantika, the gold hairline jewelry. And the Mantika represents the nectar flowing from the Sahasrara Chakra, which is fully open. And Devi makes the nectar flow in all of our nerves from the Sahasrara. she is the one who gives the very pleasant experience of the ultimate. So when you offer this Varnamantika to Devi Parashakti, you will be blessed with a fully open Sahasrara Chakra that is overflowing with bliss by Devi Parashakti herself. You will be blessed and an auspicious, blissful path to enlightenment. Next offering is the Pratiksha Pada Puja, the offering of worship to the divine lotus feet of your very own Guru, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself, who is manifesting Devi Parashakti to bless each and every one of you. So in the Saundarya Lahari, it states that the nails have been sharpened by constantly being touched darkness. And in this stotram, tamas is indicative of ignorance in the minds of the devotees. And by constantly prostrating before Devi, their ignorance is removed and they attain knowledge. So you can offer the Pratiksha Pada Puja at the feet of Devi Parashakti and this at the feet of Devi Parashakti and be blessed with attaining all the knowledge on your path to enlightenment and all the auspicious blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Devi Parashakti herself. Yes. And the next offering is the Vastra Seva. So you can offer the Vastra Seva, the offering of cloth during the Pratiksha Pada Puja. Clothes you can offer to the divine lotus feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So when you offer the Vastra Seva, you will be blessed with all protection on your path to enlightenment by both Devi Parashakti.
The various offerings that you can offer to Devi Parashakti today, your personal gifts of your sacred sentiments. So you can offer the e-hundi for yourself and for your family members. Making the conscious resolution, Devi answers the asked and unasked prayers of the devotee. The Devasu, inscribed with her one of her 1008 names, you can make this offering in 3 different denominations and any number of coins. You can offer the Mukta Anguti, the gold ring with the pearl embedded. You can offer the Swarna Padma Pushpa, the gold lotus flower, the Swarna Metti, the gold toe ring to adorn the lotus feet of Devi, the Swarna Mangtika, the gold hairline jewelry to adorn the crown center of Devi Parashakti. And you can offer the Pratyaksha Pada Puja and the Vastra Seva. So all of these offerings are expressed as you receive her get ration today. And in the Hindu tradition, there is no monetary value that can be associated with personal gifts given to the divine, sacred sentiments. So any offering, your expression of your love, gratitude, and devotion to Devi Parashakti, you can make this offering today on the website www.kailasamailer.com/sevas. The website you can see the offerings on the website www.kailasamailer.com/sevas, and you can scroll down on this page and make your various offerings. On step 2 here, you can make the offering on step 2, or you can make your e-hundi offerings at this link. So the e-hundi available in many different currencies and of any amount. You can make the offerings in US dollars, Australian dollars, yen, in all of these different currencies and for any amount. You can also offer the various offerings to Devi Parashakti, the jewelry, offerings of jewelry, the Sankalpa chanting, or the various sevas. So the gold coin, the pearl finger ring, the Swarna Padma Pushpa, the gold lotus flower, the Swarna Meti, the gold touring, the Swarna Mangtika, Pratyaksha Pada Puja, Vastra Seva, and various other offerings to Devi Parashakti are made available for devotees to express their sacred sentiments. So please do sign up this website for anything that you would like to offer Devi Parashakti. And with that, now we come to the conclusion of this segment as we get ready for the next segment of this program. So please stay tuned as we continue this program with various segments and get ready to see Devi Parashakti.
There are some gods, 9 unknown gods. The moment you call, they will be there. Venkateshwara, Balaji. I tell you, people give so much for Venkateshwara because he does 9 unknown God.
And he still pays. Venkateshwara takes the responsibility of reserve to reserve. This whole story, beautiful story of Venkateshwara, is an amazing concept. He is making Yaksha into Lakshmi. He is making the reserve to reserve. It's an amazing truth.
So now that we've understood how we can connect with Devi Parashakti more deeply, how through these various offerings you can connect and experience that oneness with Devi Parashakti and experience so much of beautiful transformation in your life through connecting with Devi Parashakti. Let us now move into this next segment. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Swamiji, has revealed that we can only bring peace through individual evolution, not through revolution. And when we connect with the divine, when we relate with the divine, we experience so much of transformation in our lives. So only through this now we have the sharing of one devotee who has experienced full transformation and evolution in her life by connecting with Swamiji, by connecting with the divine, the ultimate, and has experienced this beautiful transformation in her life. So let us watch that sharing now.
Here, Kailasa. How can I be so lucky and have a happy life in Kailasa? It's a long story. My guru is His Divine Holiness, but I wonder what life for. I really want to know the result, the reason. A long time ago, I think if I earn enough money, I will be very happy person, and then life is for happy. I tried to earn money, and then I really rich, but money didn't love. Then the really romantic love take me go lots of place. Too many stories during this time. But I don't feel I get the result, get the life reason. Then I start study. from both religion in many different ways. And when I study Buddha, that time I really appreciate Buddha gives so much intelligence to me about life. But I don't think study is enough for that. But I don't know how. Who can let me get there? One day I found the video in YouTube, introduce Swamiji in that video. I suddenly, my eyes open wide. I get it. He must be my guru. I can get there. He gets what I want, what I know, and he can take me home, real home. This kind of feeling, then I start study from Nithyananda Sangha, devote land, home, money to build up Kailasa. Then I discuss with give the whole farm to Nithyananda. That time, because both of us believe, helped we just discuss so short time already. Done, decided. I really appreciate my husband love me so much and believe me, trust Swami so much. Soon here will be big temple, Gurukul, Goshena, and library. Introduce this my story to you just mean don't give up any chance to be founding father of Kailasa. It's the best thing you can do in your life. And have a happy life in Kailasa. It's a long story. My name is Li Qi. My guru is His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam. When since I was very little, I already wonder what life for. I really want to know the result, the reason. A long time ago, I think if I earn enough money, I will be very happy person, and then life is for happy. I tried to earn money, and then I really rich, but it give me happy. The really romantic love take me go lots of place. Too many stories during this time. But I still don't feel I get the result, get the life reason. Then I start study from book, from video, from religion in many different ways. And when I study Buddha, that time I really appreciate Buddha gives intelligence to me about life. But I don't think study is enough for me. I want to be Buddha. One day I found the video in YouTube, introduce Swamiji in that video. I suddenly, my eyes open wide. I get it. He must be my guru. I can get there. He can let me get what I want to know. And he can take me home, real home. This kind of feeling, then I start study from Nithyananda Sangha. When Swamiji Satsang said he need people devote land, home, money to build up Kailasa. Then I discussed with my husband, decide to give the whole farm to Nithyananda. That time, because both of us believe help Swamiji world. It's a big decision, but we just discussed so short time already, and believe me, trust Swamiji so much. Soon here will be big temple, Gurukul, Goshena, and library. Introduce this my story to you, just me. Don't give up any chance to be founding father of Kailasa. It's the best thing you can do in your life.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्याक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधीं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Nithyanandam to each and every viewer that are watching us right now, to all the Kailasians, the Hindus and all the viewers that are sitting globally, watching us in streaming live in more than 35,000 social media handles, which are in 108 plus languages in 27 plus digital media platforms. We welcome each and every one of you that are watching us on this International Day of Peace for this very, very, very special program. Today, amidst this pandemic, the global pandemic that's going on, and the problems of humanity, everything put together, the world is in dire need of a breakthrough that needs to happen both in the physical level and the conscious level, and to experience that ultimate peace. As Swamiji puts it so beautifully, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism puts it so beautifully, peace is not the dead silence of the grave, but peace is that vibrant space of Chidambara, the vibrant peace where everything is alive, active. Going to be manifesting, and the blessing that today what we are going to be experiencing directly from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and are going to be discussing right now in the panel with esteemed guests. This beautiful revelation from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism kind of completely changed my idea of what people pick up guns and swords to bring peace. The very fundamental, the first, peace can't happen by war. You can't fight for peace. Fight for peace itself is a conflicting statement by itself. It's an oxymoron. Talk about fighting, then you talk about peace. And today what we are going to be sharing with you is why is the world actually in the dire need of peace, and what is real peace? And we are going to be having a very esteemed guests that are going to be joining us in the panel. We are going to be we welcome Nithyananda and Mahakatitananda, Manitya Katithananda, and Manitya Swatantra Priyananda, and joining with us on this extremely special panel discussion on the International Day of Peace from the nation of Kailasa. Joining with us are two very, very special guests who are going to be giving us an outlook on all the global leaders that are combating and wanting to bring peace to the world for a blissful, peaceful coexistence. So we welcome this special panel, and yes, we request the special delegates. So we welcome Dr. Richard M.K. for the panel, Nithyananda. And we also have with us Mr. John Fitz, who has joined us, Nithyananda. We welcome all the delegates that have joined us here. And we are extremely happy to have all of you here in the panel, and where we are going to be having a very insightful discussion, a panel discussion that is going to be happening on this important topic that the humanity is in dire need of, peace, on the International Day of Peace. So this stage is all yours. So thank you for joining. We are extremely delightful and awaiting for listening to all your insightful discussions and the knowledge.
Nithyanandam. My name is Vijayapriya Nithyananda. Today, September 21st, is the International Day of Peace as declared by the United Nations General Assembly. In the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has forced the whole world to pause and reconsider the way we live, the UN has made Recovering Better for an Equitable and Sustainable World the theme for 2021. On this occasion, with the blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, the nation of Sri Kailasa is hosting this panel, where we'll be discussing the importance and relevance of reviving the ancient and system to bring world peace, and the Hindu non-violent solutions to the crises and pandemic the world is facing. We sincerely thank you all for joining us today. So, who is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism? The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, born January 2nd, 1978, is the reviver and head of Kailasa, ancient enlightened civilizational nation. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the 1008th incarnation of Paramashiva, as per Hinduism, recognized by his predecessors who are enlightened masters and adept. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has made the science of power manifestation, yoga, and temple-based universities available for humanity. The Sovereign Order of Kailasa, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and the Nithyananda Order of monks, nuns, and Hindu diaspora are working for global peace and to give superconscious breakthrough to humanity.
The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is ordained as the 1008th Acharya Mahamandaleshwara, the head for all spiritual leaders of the Atal Akada, the ancient apex body of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is also ordained as the 233rd Guru Mahasanidhanam of Tondai Mandala Adhinam and is the present 293rd Mahasanidhanam of Shamala Pita Sarvanyapitam. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the present 23rd Guru Mahasanidhanam of Dharma Mukti Swargapuram Adinam, as well as the incumbent emperor of Surya Vamsa Surangi Samrajyam.
As a world-renowned humanitarian, peace builder, and religions and human rights advocate, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has, for the past 27 years of his public life, been working from the very grassroots level to usher in an era of peace at all levels, individual, societal, national, and global.
The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has over 30 million followers worldwide. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has built 12 temples in North America and 150 temples globally, serving 10,000 free meals daily and offering free daily yoga classes. So far, 250,000 programs have been conducted at these temples. Through the Supreme Pontiffs of Hinduism's No Hungry Home project, 1 billion free meals have been served globally for the last 27 years. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has 4.3 billion minutes in meditation have been recorded. The Supreme Pontiff has founded the Nithyananda Hindu University, the largest Hindu university with over 270,000 enrollments and over 2,700 free courses. During the pandemic, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has opened up his monasteries to all, continuing to provide free organic food, stay, education, healthcare to thousands of needy families in India and Malaysia. So, to the panel discussion, I would like to welcome our esteemed guest speakers. Dr. Richard Middleton Kaplan is the Dean of Arts and Sciences at Walla Walla Community College in the state of Washington in the United States. In 2011, Dr. Middleton Kaplan spent a sabbatical at the Center for Applied Human Rights at the University of York, England, helping to develop a culture and human rights. Dr. Middleton Kaplan has taught many classes about interfaith, peace building, and the Literature of Peace, and co-authored with Patrick Henry in Peace Research, the Canadian Journal of Peace and Conflict Studies. Finally, Dr. Middleton Kaplan is the co-editor of the Jewish Peace Fellowship's publication, Shalom, Jewish Peace Letter. Mr. John Pitts is the founder of Texas Star Alliance, a bipartisan public affairs firm located in Austin, Texas. In addition, Mr. Pitts is an active ordained Episcopal priest of the Diocese of Texas. He is a graduate of the Southern Methodist University, where he earned a BS, an MBA, and a JD. Mr. Pitts received a Master of Divinity from the Virginia Theological Seminary. It is a pleasure to have you with us, Dr. Middleton Kaplan and Mr. Pitts, and we sincerely thank you for your time and presence, and we really look forward to your valuable insights. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
A great look for panel discussion.
So using the Vedagamic principles to address the global problems and diseases humanity is facing, the Supreme Pontiff has declared December 16, 2020, the Supreme Pontiff has said, looking at the world as global solves more problems, helps humanity, supports humanity in a much better way. We need to use the principles of Vedas and Agamas, the universal principle, universal values to solve humanity, to solve the difficulties, dangers the humanity is facing globally. It is time we look at the universe as a global family, not just as nations, multiple. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also said, whether decisions about economy, decisions about medicine, traveling, decisions about politics, shelter, fundamental level, we should start using more and more universal principles. Universal Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha is one such cosmic principle of Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha. Non-violence is the highest virtue. Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha is not just a belief, it is the core principle of the Vedic tradition. In Hinduism is an open framework. Model civilization stands for non-violence, inner and outer peace, vegetarianism, worship of nature, organic lifestyle, temple-based living, and divinity, and immense potential of every being. Hinduism comprises many indigenous spiritual traditions coexisting peacefully for millennia, following the cosmic principle of Advaita, peaceful coexistence with all the beings. The Vedic lifestyle of Hinduism starts with peace and ends with peace.
Yes, and as we had Mani Dharma, where we are founded on peace, like the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had beautifully revealed. Our foundation, the foundation principle, the root principle is Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha. The civilization of Hinduism and respects each and every sentient beings as consciousness, as divine, irrespective of their beliefs, irrespective they assume.
Actually, that is a very beautiful thing, because in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, we don't even have a word for this racial discrimination. The fundamental concept of established on oneness. It's a beautiful Shastra Pramana that we have. Actually, just to let all of you know, every science that the Supreme Pontiff reveals to us from the sacred texts are chanting just one verse from the Taittiriya Upanishad, which says, Shashan Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryamam Shanna Indro Brihaspatihi Shanno Vishnurha Namo Brahmane. Namaste Vayu Yaksham Brahmasi. Twamavit Tadvaktaramavit. Avi Vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Be peace to us, O Mitra. Be peace to us, Varuna. Be peace to us, Aryaman. Be peace to us, the Indra and Brihaspati. May the fast-riding Vishnu be peace to us. Adoration to the eternal. Adoration to thee, O Vayu, who are the visible, eternal, and as the visible, eternal, I will declare thee. I will declare the righteousness. I will declare truth. May that protect me. May that protection protect the speaker. May it protect me. May it protect the speaker. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is a beautiful quote from the Taittiriya Upanishad. Actually, this verse, every Upanishad of Sanatana Hindu Dharma starts with Shanti mantra, because for us in Sanatana, each and every sentient being as consciousness, as divine, as Paramashiva, or as the ultimate.
Next slide. Vasudevam Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family, is another Vedagamic principle Hinduism strongly believes in. Hinduism is all-inclusive, welcomes all to partake in traditional Hindu rituals. The benefits of sacred Hindu rituals are bestowed on all, regardless of gender, religion, race. The Dalai Lama, spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhists, attends the Hindu festival Kumbh Mela, which is the largest human gathering on earth. During the 2015 Kumbh Mela in Triambakeshwar, Maharashtra, India, His Holiness the Dalai Lama took part in Hindu rituals. Kailasa adheres to this custom of COVID-19 outbreak. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has opened up his monasteries and Kailasa's care facilities to all to provide free organic food, stay and education and healthcare. In Kailasa, all beings live in Advaita, oneness, and peaceful coexistence with humanity and nature. Advaita is one of the ultimate truths of life. When you internalize and understand everything in life is from the truth that everyone is an extension of you, you experience the true space of Advaita. Living Advaita means radiating all-powerful, all-knowledge, always blissful, Sachitanandamaya. Living in the space of Advaita opens you up to your true nature, and you are introduced to you. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, through Kailasa, promotes the core belief of Sanatana Hindu Dharma that the divine exists in all beings, both human and non-human. Hinduism believes that animals and plants are equally embodied with the existence of the divine, preserve intelligence and ability amongst varying life forms. The existence of the soul in all forms binds animals and other elements of nature. The animals of Kailasa are initiated by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism into the non-violent lifestyle of enlightenment. At the time of death, Maheshwara Puja is conducted for the animals of Kailasa as well. Just recently, as we can see in the picture, Maheshwara Puja was offered for Ananda Bhairav. Ananda Bhairav, who waits of Kailasa as a 3-month-old Rottweiler, grew up in Kailasa as the Kshetra Palaka, protecting Adi Kailasa Nithyananda Sarvanya Peetam for the last, also offers his prayers for the liberation of all animals worldwide, which left their in Indonesia, avenging the death of one villager killed by a crocodile. So what is Maheshwara Puja? Maheshwara Puja is one of Hinduism's most ancient rituals. Hinduism enables the liberation of the spirits, the ancestral karmic turmoil in us at one muscle memory, thereby bringing completion, peace both to the departed souls and to us. Devotees offer Maheshwara Puja so that the departed liberated in the presence of the avatar, the supreme pontiff of Hinduism, who is the embodiment of cosmic energy and who personally receives the bhiksha or food offered as he liberates the departed souls. Performing the Maheshwara Puja brings have been conducted by Kailasa. The next science of peaceful coexistence and creating ecosystems that foster environment of a hymn for world peace and a resilient, sustainable, just future. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism publicly declared that existence of Paramashanta Swarupa, absolute peace, inspiring all to consciously develop our core inner peace, radiating from a being manifest in the world as outer peace, restoring balance, health, happiness, and prosperity, allowing one to experience the whole world as a family, a world without greed, ego, pain, suffering, inequality, injustice, violence, and environmental destruction.
And once again, thanking the panelists, the guests that have joined us, the same guests that have joined us. So just would like to highlight a fact over here. Right now, okay, let's say there is a lot of war, there's a lot of terrorism that's going on in the world today. All of us might be knowing how the militant groups are attacking, the innocents are getting killed, and a lot of such violence are happening. I requested the previous slide to be put. Yes, thank you, Mom. So now if we see here, these terrorist attacks, the attacks that are happening where the humans are killed, those people are concerned, people are worried. I would just like to highlight here one small incident that had happened where over 300 crocodiles were brutally murdered in broad daylight by villagers in Indonesia. 300 crocodiles. They were dragged out of the water and they were brutally murdered, not for eating, not for any purpose, but purely out of revenge that one crocodile had killed one of the villagers. Now, such a brutal thing is happening, but how many of our conscience is actually affected by cognition to cognize what the beings would have gone through? This is something that I would think that I would feel like highlighting it here specifically because this fundamental cognition, where the sensitizing way, bringing that sensitivity, that fundamental sensitivity back to us human beings. That is why in Kailasa, all the beings, whether you are a human or you are an animal, you are an insect, all the beings are treated equally. Everyone has equal rights. Not just that whether despite of your caste, despite of your nationality, despite of your religion, despite of your race, gender, you're equal. Even despite of whether you're a human, you have the equal rights in Kailasa.
Actually, that is why we are not taught to separate by gender. We are not taught, there is no separation based on religion, your nationality, your birth. There's no separation based on even your beliefs. Because each and every one of us we're all not treated as equal, we are treated as unique. Every being, whether it's a small animal or it's a person, every sentient being is revered and treated as a unique part of existence. Each and every being, the fundamental principle with which Kailasa thrives is based on bringing in the Paramashanta Swarupa, the ultimate form of peace inside us. So when we bring that peace inside us, we naturally revere each and every sentient being as a of this. As we are listening to this, we're all also going to be hearing the views and the having an outlook on the perspective of peace, Kailasa, and the supreme contributions by the esteemed guest, Mr. Dr. Richard MK, and also we'll be having Mr. John Pitts sharing their view there towards the end. So we request all the viewers to stay tuned as we continue to discuss further on what is peace and standing by the UN's the goal sustainable growth and development. And pertaining to that, we will be continuing the discussion of what Kailasa has taken this step forward and how Kailasa is leading to bring the global peace.
And all of you can also be joining this discussion. Feel free to talk about it, and you can also participate. The viewers that are watching us live right now, you can also participate by posting it in the comment section. We are live through various social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, etc. Yes, sorry, Mavaji, you can go ahead now.
So as Ma Nitya, Nandita and Manitya, Tatapriya and Ma Vijayapriya have all shared about the beauty of this Hindu peaceful ecosystem, we do know that it is at threat. So did you know the state religion in over 56 nations, all the way to Singapore, Malaysia, Cambodia, and India? 6 nations, there were 200 states, 1,700 provinces, and 10,000 sampradayas or traditions that flourished. These 56 nations operated from a space of oneness with planet Earth and each being. Communities gathered around temples and followed the most sustainable organic practices which supported one's health on the physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual levels. Living enlightenment or living at our peak potential while peacefully coexisting with all beings used to be a natural way of existence. However, over centuries of combined forces of foreign political upheaval, colonization, and religious persecution, 50% of the world's oldest living civilization has now been exterminated. The Hindu civilization is now on the brink of, and let us not be tricked into thinking that this is something of the past. No, the persecution and genocide of Hindus is going on as we speak today. Today, all Hindu temples remain in Afghanistan, Cambodia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and many other places across the world. The generational Hindus who once lived and practiced Hinduism and its tradition and culture have been systematically and ethnically cleansed. The Hindu Holocaust is a stark epitome of a campaign of race extermination through a systematic and ongoing ethnic cleansing, forcing relocation and double killing through genocide and all genocide denial over the last 5,000 years, living and beautiful civilization on planet Earth. Denied by historians and untold by its victimized survivors, 100 million. So solving the world's problems is our spiritual responsibility. The world, as it suffers on multiple levels: physical, environmental, socioeconomic, mental, and psychological. When it comes to the pandemic, globally, as of September 10th, 2021, there have been over 223 million confirmed cases of COVID, with over 4.6 million deaths. During the pandemic, a larger than average share of young adults between the ages of 18 and 24 reported symptoms of anxiety and depression. A health tracking poll from July 2020 in the US also found that many adults reported negative impacts on their mental health and well-being, such as difficulty in sleeping or eating, increase in alcohol consumption or abuse, substance abuse, and worsened chronic conditions due to worry and stress over the coronavirus, isolation, and job loss. Now, interestingly, reports indicate that the pandemic has disproportionately affected the health of communities of color. Non-Hispanic, Black adults, and Hispanic or Latino adults are more likely to report symptoms of anxiety or depression than non-Hispanic or non-colored adults. Historically, these communities of color have always faced challenges with mental health care. And this issue, unfortunately, has worsened with the pandemic. The inequality gap has now increased once more. What may be even more surprising to note is that in 2019, 12 million adults seriously thought about suicide, and 3.5 million planned a suicide attempt, and a shocking one, more or less for millions. We have also seen increase in crimes and violence during this period. When it comes to crime and violence, the unfortunate reality is that 1 in 5 victims are actually killed by an intimate partner, someone who they consider as family. Is that based on a nationally representative survey of more than 10,000 US adults conducted in September 2020, 41% of Americans experienced some form of ongoing physical threats, harassment over a period of time, and even sexual harassment. And we have also seen environmental destruction and biodiversity loss at its peak, with the quarters of land-based environment and about 66% of the marine environment have been significantly altered by human actions. Land degradation alone has resulted in reduced food productivity of around 23%. So food security has become a huge issue in several countries with vulnerable indigenous communities. We're talking about small island developing states, as well as other developing countries being most affected by the pandemic. Roughly 100 to 300 million people are now expected to be at risk of floods because of loss of coastal habitats and protection. Now, plastic pollution, we've been hearing quite a lot about this. Plastic pollution has now increased tenfold, with 300 to 400 million tons of heavy metals, solvents, toxic sludge, and other waste from industrial facilities being the world's waters into our sacred waters. And there are roughly 400 oceanic dead zones, totaling to an area which is greater than the United Kingdom. Could we just imagine how huge the impacts? In Afghanistan, tens of thousands of people eligible to resettle in other countries are still trapped in Afghanistan. The Taliban in Afghanistan have named a new interim government led by headliners and includes no women, no minorities, no opposition members. The Israel-Palestine ongoing conflicts have 100 Palestinians actually died between 2008 and 2020, while over 100,000 were injured. So when we speak about wars and conflicts, what does all of this mean? There is a cost to war, and there's a cost for also preventative action. It is more cost effective than actions taken to end conflicts. This makes a lot of sense. Studies indicate that preventing violence could have an average net savings of $70 billion per year. For every $1 invested in peace-building activities carries a potential $16 reduction in the cost of armed conflicts. But this is not all doom and gloom. I'm not here to share the doom and gloom. A lot of this you may already know, but this is what we do have, which is Kailasa, the enlightened Hindu civilizational nation and ecosystem, which is here as a solution to the world's. And this is all being made possible by Paramashivoham. And his vision is beautifully captured in this quote, and I would like to share it with you. Bhagwan says, it may be mapped on planet Earth, but Kailasa itself is an enlightenment ecosystem all over the world, happily, blissfully, peacefully, powerfully. So let's now hear a little bit more about the revival of Kailasa, the enlightened Hindu civilizational nation, and how this can bring about a more peaceful, just, and sustainable and resilient world, and also learn about your role as conscious beings in making this a reality.
As Nithyananda beautifully shared, we are most blessed as a humanity to have the guidance, to receive the guidance of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is reviving Kailasa, the enlightened civilizational nation, which is a historic happening on planet Earth. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has taken the responsibility to guide the whole humanity towards a future that is equitable and sustained. Kailasa, that once existed and flourished in 56 Hindu nations. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's deep insights into the workings of the human mind, body, emotions have enabled him to fully and direct the life solutions based on the ancient Hindu traditions, our meditation and yoga techniques coming directly from the core scriptures, the Vedas and Agamas, as revealed by Paramashiva, the cognitions rooted in the highest truths, Satya, the lifestyle, the Charya Padati, based on living and radiating the higher values of life to realize one's ultimate potential. And all of these life solutions are the foundation of the Supreme Pontiff, which by their inherent nature provide the foundation for peace on planet Earth.
So beautifully you have shared this, Mom, because this is something I would just like to add a point over here, because what Swamiji is doing, teaching, reviving the whole Kailasa nation, the fundamental principle is oneness based. Whether it is the meditation or yoga techniques that you're learning, or whether it is the powerful cognitions you're learning, the fundamental truth is established on this oneness. So what happens is every moment of your life, when your purpose from which, the context from which you bend your body, the context from which you do a pranayama, when you inhale and exhale, everything is again and again and again aligning back you, your very existence and your life to this fundamental principle of Shanti. Shanti is not the peace that we know as normally, because the peace that we generally know as is mostly defined as conflict free, mostly defined as something where it is, when moment you remember peace, you remember like a silence. The vibrant, alive peace is Shanti.
One of the very important ways to revive this enlightened civilizational nation is by reviving feminism, which is directly connected to global peace and sustainable future. So one very important aspect of the revival of the Hindu ecosystem for global peace is the indigenous matrilineal occupy leadership as per authentic Hinduism, which is being revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
Sorry, I would just like to add a point over here. We all can see in the panel itself right now, I think most of us are women that are here from Kailasa. And just to let all of you know, 85% of the Kailasa, the administration and the whole Kailasa government is by the women, because so powerfully Swamiji reveals women by their very breathing has a power. One chaste woman is all it takes to make anything successful or to break anything. A chastity of the women is extremely powerful, and that is what Swamiji is reviving. I would just like to share with all of you what actually, when we say Vedic feminism, feminism is not about the Hindu feminism that we are talking about, is not based on getting this equal cerebral opportunities. That is also the feminism that we are talking about, the one that women from their inner space feeling empowered, getting that empowerment, and from that empowerment making the decisions. When women are empowered, when women run the whole government, when they take the administrations, is unfathomable.
Actually, the whole Hindu society, the way the society is designed, it is not like today in the morning take the word feminism. There's a lot of prejudice, there's a lot of connotations attached to it, like there's a stigma around it, like it has to be a certain way, and it many times it is merely about having equality in the cerebral opportunities level, like, okay, I also get to be a CEO, I also get to be this, be that. But in Hinduism, a very realizes her inherent power within. Whether she is a mother, whether she is a CEO, whether she is someone, a military personnel, any dimension, that is the divine feminine consciousness. In Hinduism, both men, women, in fact, all genders are revered, and each of them attain their path of enlightenment by awakening all the components in them. They complete the masculine part in them, they complete the feminine part in them. No conflict between ideologies, and that is the beautiful quality. There's a beautiful Shastra Pramana, means a scripture information, atrocity material that is out there, which says Manusmriti is against women. And here we are going to quote a verse from Manusmriti showing how progressive Vedic feminism was, how progressive we as Hindus were in the stance we have for feminism, how we revere, how women are held in Manusmriti. And now we are going to be quoting a verse from Manusmriti now. Pitrubhe bhratrubhes chaitha patirbhir devatairas pujascha bahukalyanam api subhihi. Women must be honored and adorned by their fathers, brothers, husbands, and brother-in-law who desire their own welfare. There's another beautiful verse. Just to highlight this, I'm going to repeat this whole translation again. This is from Manusmriti. Why I'm again mentioning this, highlighting this, because there's a lot of stigma around, regarded in so many places and quoted as one of the scriptures that is against women. And I'm quoting a verse, and adorned by their fathers, brothers, husbands, and brother-in-law who desire their own welfare. So for the welfare of oneself, for any of the people that are mentioned, women needs to be revered. So this is a verse from Manusmriti. Yes, the next slide, please. There's a next another pramana as well, which again is from Manusmriti, from the 3rd chapter, the 55th and 56th verse. Yatra naryastu pujyante ramante tatra devataha yatraitastu na pujyante sarvasta tatra palaskriyaha. Where women are honored, there are gods. The gods are pleased. But where they are not honored, no sacred rite yields rewards. This whole Hinduism is mother worship centered. To offer like sacredness to anything, we revere it as mother. Whether it is cow, we call as Gomata. Whether it is planet Earth, to bring reverence to planet Earth, we call her as Bhuma Devi. To bring sacredness to water, we call her as Ganga Mata. To bring sacredness to nature, we call her as Prakriti, Para, Shakti. To bring sacredness to anything, the very word Ma is sacredness. The mother, the quality, the divine feminine consciousness is worshipped. Here I want to add a beautiful explanation that Swamiji gives. When we say it is the divine feminine consciousness is worshipped, we don't say it is only supremacy of the woman and there is no suppression of the masculine. There is neither suppression of the feminine nor suppression of the masculine. It is purely revering the divine consciousness, the divine feminine consciousness in each and every being, where every sentient being is respected and revered as consciousness, unique by their very existence. We can continue 3 further slides.
And sharing the Shastra Pramanas is most important to show that the empowerment of women is due to culture, religion, and lifestyle. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to restore peace. And actually on September 17th, Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gave a public politics had been handed over to women. So much good would have happened to human society and human civilization. If it had been handed over to women, we would have remained to this day a family-based civilization, which would have naturally ensured that everybody's basic needs were met. The leadership of women is shared by many global institutions, such as the United Nations. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived this Vedic feminine in Kailasa, where over 8% of the leadership positions are occupied by women. So in a world now where reports are showing that although the interstate conflicts are declining in number, countries are still experiencing a vital polarization, which is splitting of a society that are different ends of a spectrum, such as poor, white, black. And it's therefore women to rise into, and HDH of Hinduism is empowering women, reviving the many pillars of Hinduism in Kailasa in order to restore world peace and stability. And one such pillars that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving is the Vedic education system, Gurukul.
Education system, the Gurukul. As we celebrate International, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, has made best efforts in a way to sustain long-term peace through reviving the ancient Vedic educational system, the Gurukul, the first pillar, which was designed to make children enlightened. From the age of 7, children were groomed in the Gurukul under the guidance of their guru. They were supported to realize their conscious sovereignty, the ultimate freedom which arises from awakening to one's own uniqueness, one's own true nature. Of Kathopanishad, which is the peace declaration to oneself, others, and the world. Traditionally, both the guru and his students would pray at the beginning of the class, setting the context for mutually enriching and expanding each other. Om Sahana Vavatu, may we enrich each other and expand each other. May no incompletion come between us, referring to the teacher and the student. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism created Nithyananda Gurukul, the authentic traditional education system of the Vedic age, and continues to offer Vedic education, yoga courses for free to funded Nithyananda Daily Gurukul with 40 centers worldwide. Also, Nithyananda Gurukul books have been released in 7 different languages like English, Tamil, Hindi, Slovak, traditional Chinese, simple Chinese, and Spanish. One of the most vital component the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has done for is initiating over 150,000 students into the power of the third eye. And studies have actually proven the significant increase in memory, intuition, creativity, clarity, and confidence. Has empowered Nithyananda Gurukul to be well equipped with the spiritual strength and full yet non-violent leaders. And as a side effect of such education, children highly sciences and much more. And these extraordinary faculties, as they're seen today in the children of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Gurukul. And Nithyananda Gurukul kids are actually highly intelligent beings. And as per the research, 35% of the children have been found with IQ scores of above 130, considered gifted, instruments without formal lessons, and 100% of children organize and even conduct their own temple rituals around the year. And 100% of children produce creative temple arts like deity making, alankar, which is deity decoration, planning and building children's temples, and making deity jewelry and art, to name a few. One of the most profound aspects about the children of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Gurukul, is that they are raised with the cognition that I am consciousness and I can never be violated, which is one of the most powerful cognitions. And with the single powerful cognition, they are initiated into the science of making a rose plant drop their thorns. The children connect to these rose plants from the space of ahimsa, nonviolence, and Advaita, oneness. And the rose plants drop their thorns as they do not feel the need to protect themselves anymore. There have been similar researchers mapping the human consciousness intention to changing a snowflake matter reality. And here, science demonstrates how one's conscious intention can directly impact physical reality and gives hope that radiating inner peace, we can create a nonviolent world. Enlightened children initiated in the spiritual practices such as yoga, meditation, and the science of completion are the greatest hope for strengthening, reestablishing, and rebuilding a sustainable, nonviolent future. They have the capacity of taking responsibility for the well-being of the whole world, following Hinduism's core principles, including Vasudeva Kutumbakam, as we introduced earlier, the whole world is my family.
So another pillar of the ancient Vedic civilization for peace and prosperity is the joint family system. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has declared, I checked, tested, scanned all types of lifestyles. So from my research, for a common man, the best lifestyle would be joint families. The joint family system has been around since the beginning of human civilization, and it is quite prevalent in many Asian countries still to this date. It usually refers to families which consist of one or more married couples residing with their children and other close relatives, such as grandparents, aunts, uncles, all in one home, or it can also refer to a group of people who are non-blood related, but who consciously decide to live together as they are connected vibrantly with a certain ideology or concept. The family unit forms the foundation of society as it plays an important role in the development of children, and stable families create stable, thriving societies. In the Hindu tradition, the joint family system was the norm for eons, and most recently, we've seen this is slowly shifting as urbanization and gender roles have evolved. According, joint families act as a close-knit community and have been proven demands of the child, which helps in the development of social interactions, learning skills, and the ability to adapt to changing environments. It can provide the best balance, support, and nurturing environment for family members of all ages, especially senior relatives, as they are continuously required to learn new skills and become actively part of the children's lives, removing several issues related to loneliness, Alzheimer's, and depression. It does so much for inner growth, says the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. With the disintegration of joint families, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is here to revive this traditional, sacred way of living, which was designed by Paramashiva himself for a more stable, thriving, blissful, and enlightened society.
Along with the Vedic education system, the Gurukul, and the joint family system, additional pillar of the most stable society. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has said that the Hindu Varnashrama Dharma is the most beautiful science developed for the best stable society. It is the most beautiful system where responsibility is encouraged, where you take responsibility not only for your life, but for others' lives as well. And another component which made the Hindu society most stable is that it was based on specialization. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism beautifully explains that the Vedic tradition is very clear. So there were four major powers. There are four major powers in the human society. So number one is knowledge, second, weapon, third, money, wealth, and fourth, land. And all these four were kept separately and assigned given to four different groups, so that the decentralization of the power was always maintained. So there was no such thing as centralization. There was no authoritative governance. There's always a democracy. And even if there was a king, he always has to be a benign ruler, a benign authority, a benign autocracy. So even the king cannot just be doing what he wants, because the knowledge is with a different group, because the wealth is with another group, the weapons are with another group, and the land with a different group. And so the four main groups who were responsible for maintaining the four major powers of society are the Brahmanas, which were responsible to withhold the wisdom and knowledge, so knowledge keepers and sharing the wisdom. The Kshatriyas, which were the warriors and the protectors, so who carried the weapons and led the army. The Vaishyas, which were the wealth creators and taking the responsibility to sustain that wealth for a stable society. And the Shudras, which were the stewards of the land and abundant ecological and food systems. And so the Hindu society was most life positive. It is designed by Paramashivoham, absolute law and order, where women were revered, honored, and protected along with their children, where the vulnerable people were protected at every level. And so this system created a very stable, just, equitable, and prosperous society, which is what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving today. And so this system actually came also from the rishis of the Vedic traditions, who are smritikaras of Hinduism, and they made it possible. They made it also into a reality. And so once again, this is becoming a reality for all of us to prosper together as a community, as a society, as a humanity, through the blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has actually launched many international mandates. So the 6 international mandates of Kailasa, the OMS. And so Mama Hakatita will be able to share more about it.
Yes, so far we have had such a beautiful discussions on various different dimensions. Just a brief introduction. Actually, Hinduism by itself is too vast to speak about. And I know each and every viewer that are watching us, to let you all know, we have people who are sitting in 100+ countries and 500+ cities. Sitting in our global universities, Kailasa's Nithyananda Hindu Universities and Kailasa's Nithyananda Gurukuls, global schools, international schools which provide free education. Then Kailasa's Nithyananda Anna Mandirs, which offer free food, organic free meals to billions of free meals are served and still counting. And we have people who are sitting in our global temples around the world. And there are so many viewers that are in more than 500 cities and 100 countries watching us in one of our many of the social media platforms. Now, each and every viewer must be curious to know the different, having different perspectives and different outlooks on peace, the subjects, the revival, the whole revival of Hindu way of living, the blissful coexistence amongst.
And we have Dr. Mr. Richard MK, who has been here. So actually, so nice to see you. Like continuously, you've been here listening to the conversation and being actively engaging and listening to the conversation. So that's wonderful to see your engagement. So that's really nice.
We also have Mr. John Pitts, who have joined us, and Mr. Patrick Henry. So we have all of you who have joined us. And now I'm sure each and every viewer is curious to know your views, have an outlook on your perspectives on what we have discussed so far. And esteemed guests, Dr. Richard and esteemed guest today, to know their perspective to know what is their view, what is it that they are going to be sharing about. So before we move on into the further segments, let us listen to from the esteemed guests that have joined with us today.
Dr. Mr. Richard, that you're joined here. And before we ask the questions, would you want to share in a few words based on the discussion that we had just had?
I'd like to thank Mahakathitha Ananda for reaching out to me and helping to peace and nonviolence and interfaith and being in the educational system for my entire. So I'm very touched to hear this very deep conversation with all of you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
So much,
delighted
Dr.
to have
Richard.
you as a part of this conversation too, and really waiting to hear your insightful knowledge into all these deep subjects. And we also welcome Mr. Patrick Henry Nithyanandam. Thank you so much for being a part of this panel.
And now we would like to invite upon Mr. John Pitts to share a few words on what is the discussion, sir.
That has come to me. And that peace and words that were used individual evolution. With that, I don't believe in today's time is going to be possible. It has to begin individually. And what we're hearing today is really, and as it was said, not a revolution, but an evolution. And it's so important that this conference is occurring on this day in a time that troubled waters are all over the world. I don't believe I've ever seen such troubled waters, and change is occurring so rapidly today that humanity is unable to grasp that change. And so I've done with the community thus far. So thank you, and I look forward to the rest of the morning.
Wonderful, sir.
Thank you so much for being here, sir. Thank you so much for being here, because it's such a delight to have so many of you who have done a lot of research in these fields, and there's so much of experience, knowledge, and result. And it's such a delight to listen to your perspective into this as well. And thank you so much for joining today. And we are extremely, each of our viewers are extremely delighted and curious, waiting to hear your perspective on our discussions further. So thank you so much for being here, Mr. John Pitts. And we also now welcome back. Yes, go ahead.
I want to add one more thing. I completely agree with the Supreme Pontiff. If we had turned politics over to women a long time ago, life would be very different today. I've thought about that many times.
So
Thank you
nice that you shared
that today.
So true. And also,
if you see the entire government of Kailasa, the entire administration, 80% is women, is run by women. And we also have like universities that train women to empower themselves and to be awakening that leadership consciousness in them. So delighted that you heard that and you are also resonating with that. And yes, we also have Mr. Patrick Henry Nithyanandam. Would you like to share a few words based on what you have been hearing in this panel discussion so far?
I just want to thank you all for letting me be part of this. I want to be a silent listener mostly. I have nothing prepared, but I've worked with Richard. We've taught courses on peace together. We've written about peace together. I've taught courses on religion and peace from a Judeo-Christian perspective, featuring writers like Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, Daniel Berrigan, Dorothy Day, and various other peace writers, people who've been writing about peace and the relationship between religion and peace throughout the entire 20th century. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here. It's a real privilege, and I'm learning so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, Sanatana Hindu Dharma at large, the whole revival of Kailasa that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is spearheading, is to bring peaceful coexistence, where Swamiji beautifully tells, it is not to claim supremacy of an individual religion, nor it is not to say, one race is the best and others are not. It is not with any of these. But in fact, Swamiji beautifully tells, Hinduism is, simply put, it is the greater science of life. And Swamiji is here. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is here. The whole revival of Kailasa is happening. Every religion, every race, every gender, irrespective of their walks of life, their beliefs, their ideologies, their religions, we welcome, embrace every best of Hinduism so humanity can reap and walk towards a better. Humanity at large is experiencing a blissful coexistence. And I am sure this is spearheading a grand revival, showing to us the next generation, the future, where peace, blissful coexistence is our.
Wonderful. So we will now open up the discussions. And we have a first question for Dr. Richard Middleton Kaplan. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. It's wonderful to meet you, sir, and have you here with us. So my question is, so based on your knowledge and your experience, why do you think the work of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in reviving the enlightened civilization of Kailasa, why do you think it's so crucial at this point? And how can it benefit, how do you think it can benefit all of humanity, leading
point in time, and that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's work is well-timed and that it can benefit the whole of humanity? There are two different ways in which we could look at the direness of atrocities going on, the environmental pollution, the rise in crimes, the rise in suicide and depression, terrible global crises, and as you probably know, devastating political division and animosity here in the United States at the moment. So we could see that those conditions make it all the more necessary for the opportunities that we have at this historical moment, exceptional promise and opportunity. Logical course is not sustainable. One thing I've noticed here in the United States is that the news coverage of our unprecedented and intense environmental disasters, wildfires, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, increasingly mentions in the news coverage that these things are related to climate change. So it's becoming part of the vocabulary of everyday coverage that these things are awaiting change. Also, the cognitive psychologist, and even though our exposure to media makes it seem like there is more. And so this increasing consciousness and this pattern of declining violence sets us up for a supremely opportune moment to introduce this. And I think we are at a good point in time. Here in the United States, we have seen a revival not seen since the 1960s of mass nonviolent protest, most recently triggered by the murder of George Floyd. And we have even seen, in some cases, responses of police departments committed to nonviolent methods of restraint and reforming their practices. It's certainly true that there are people in the United States who resist the reality of globalism, but this undeniable reality has also led to more people than ever, at least in my awareness in this country, embracing a vision that what unites us is much greater than what transcends us. That's something that Patrick Henry has taught in his classes. I've tried to replicate in mine, and that I think is gradually breaking through into the consciousness. I'll also say that in the educational realm, the principles of equity, diversity, and inclusion have really come to the forefront in recent years. The group of academic leaders that I'm part of across the state of Washington has made a decision in recent years to four principles of our common humanity. That is to say, instead of developing policies and procedures and then asking after we've developed them, oh, are these equitable? Can we tweak them a little bit? We now lead the conversation with equity. My college is about to embark on a revision of its strategic plan in which equity is the principal driving force that is going to lead every conversation. And we're not unusual in that in higher education. So I would say we do have a crucial point in time and a supremely opportune moment for building on these principles, leading to a peaceful and sustainable future.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's very insightful. And I do want to say it's really all policies, not just like an afterthought, as you said. So that is how we create change, when we realize that it really starts from the root. And also you've mentioned about, the violence that's been happening. But we've all, as you said, there's a group of people coming together during this time, which brings immense hope, I would say, where we're seeing beyond, those boundaries, and we're really insightful. And it's really inspiring to know that these policies, especially in education, in your field, it's being looked at in a holistic way, where, social issues of equity and equality, all of these things are being built in. So thank you so much for your share.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to highlight something that you were sharing about, that how you were sharing about how, like, everyone, when the decisions are being made itself, the fundamental cognition from which the decisions are made is important, like how Dr. Richard was mentioning. This is something that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been very insistent about having the leaders, the decision makers, the influencers, the leaders, having the right cognitions inside, the right inner construct inside, and them having peace-based, powerful cognitions about the world, also reflecting these cognitions which are there inside. So that's really amazing, and it was wonderful. I actually felt many of these teachings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and what work you have been doing are so beautifully resonating. And just this oneness-based principles in being incorporated in that